One biologist just broke the #1 rule of farming. He dug a hole, filled it with fish, and proved something that could change everything you know about food. It's 1984, North Carolina. Dr. Mark McMurtry, a renowned scientist. While everyone's debating sustainable agriculture, he literally dug a hole in his backyard, creating what seems like a failed experiment waiting to happen. Tilapia in murky water, tomato plants hovering above it, pipes connecting them together. His neighbors thought he'd lost it. But then something impossible happened. The fish didn't die. The water didn't poison the plants. The plants didn't collapse from neglect. Instead, the fish fed the plants. The plants cleaned the water. The water fed the fish back. A perfect loop. A closed system. A biological perpetual motion machine actually working. He didn't just build a garden. He built an engine of self-sustaining food production that had been hiding in plain sight for thousands of years. And today, this forgotten science is about to revolutionize how humanity grows food forever. If you're ready to stop being a passive consumer and start being a system operator, subscribe now. We're going to dismantle the illusion of dependence and rebuild the loop together. The biological reality. Your food supply is a fragile, 1,500-mile-long logistics chain that depends on cheap fuel and perfect weather. We've been lied to. We were told food production requires massive corporate chains and synthetic chemicals. In reality, you are about to build a closed-loop protein and produce machine that feeds your family on almost zero inputs. The Aztec engineers of 200 AD achieved this perfectly. Their chinampas, floating islands in the lakes of Tenochtitlan, were hydraulic masterclasses. Native fish lived in the channels between islands, feeding on algae and insects, while their waste fertilized the gardens above. The gardens scrubbed the water clean, filtering it back into the channels. It was a refinery that fed 200,000 people with zero inputs. The Spanish conquistadors dismantled it because it didn't fit their rigid, extractive model of cattle and corn. Across the Pacific, the Chinese Han dynasty perfected a mirror image: fish ponds paired with mulberry trees, where silkworm waste fed the fish, and fish pond mud fertilized the trees. These were not just simple agricultural practices. They were sophisticated, multi-generational engineering triumphs that turned biology into a perpetual motion machine. The three actors. Conventional industrial farming operates on a linear, destructive conveyor belt logic. You pump inputs in, synthetic fertilizers, chemical pesticides, and massive quantities of water, and you pray for an output that isn't already poisoned or nutrient depleted. Every step of that process leaks. Fertilizer runs off into waterways, soil erodes into the sea, and the system eventually exhausts itself. Aquaponics, however, is not a conveyor belt. It is a cycle. In a functioning, high-output aquaponic system, there are three distinct living actors working in permanent, non-negotiable negotiation with each other, forming a biological machine that feeds itself. The first actor is the fish. They are your primary engine, the source of life for the entire system. Fish consume food and naturally excrete waste, and that waste, which is primarily ammonia, is one of the most nitrogen-dense substances on Earth. In any conventional fish tank, ammonia is a toxic death sentence. It accumulates, burns the gills of the fish, and eventually kills them. It is the reason why standard fish tanks smell terrible and why fish farmers are forced to constantly change the water or blast it with chemicals. In an aquaponic refinery, however, ammonia is not the problem. It is the entire point. It is the concentrated liquid gold that powers your growth. The second actor is the bacterial colony, specifically the genius-level microorganisms known as Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter. These are the invisible laborers that make your system work. Within the first few weeks of operation, they colonize every single wet surface in your grow bed, specifically inside the porous structure of your clay pebbles. These bacteria perform the miraculous process of nitrification. They consume the toxic ammonia produced by the fish and convert it into nitrites, and then they convert those nitrites into nitrates. Nitrates are non-toxic to your fish in normal concentrations, but they are exactly the life-giving fuel that plants crave to grow at an accelerated pace. Without this bacterial colony, your system is just a tank of poison. With them, it is a high-performance refinery. The third actor is the plant life. Your vegetables, herbs, and greens act as the biological kidney of the system. Their roots, which are either suspended in water or flooded by that nutrient-dense, nitrate-rich water, act like a vacuum, stripping the nitrogen from the water until it is scrubbed clean. Once the plants have finished their work, the water is pure enough to return to the fish tank, starting the loop over again. Fish feed bacteria. Bacteria feed plants. Plants clean the water for the fish. It is a perfect self-correcting triad of biology. You are not just gardening, you are managing a living, breathing circular ecosystem that optimizes every single molecule of input for maximum productivity. How to assemble the loop? You need 3 core components: a 300-gallon fish tank, a grow bed, and a pump. The setup: place your 300-gallon tank on level ground. Fill it with dechlorinated water. The grow bed: place an IBC tote or similar container above or beside the tank. Fill it with a neutral medium like expanded clay pebbles. The pulse: install a submersible pump on a timer. Use a 15 minutes on, 45 minutes off cycle. This allows roots to access both water and oxygen, preventing them from suffocating. Crucial management: the cycle. Before adding fish, run the system for 2 to 4 weeks with a small amount of ammonia. You are waiting for the bacterial colony to establish. If you skip this, you are building a tank of poison. The sweet spot: keep your pH between 6.8 and 7.2. Disaster mitigation: a battery-powered backup air pump is your insurance policy against grid failure. If you're finding this engineering breakdown valuable, give this a like. It helps the algorithm push this inconvenient knowledge to other people who are ready to take control of their own food supply. The economics: nobody talks about your fertilizer, fish poop, your filter, a salad, your input costs. Near zero. Think about that for a second. While industrial farmers are hemorrhaging money on chemical inputs, pesticides, and fertilizer suppliers, you're running a system where the waste from one process becomes the fuel for another. It's not theoretical. It's not aspirational. Researchers have documented $3,000 to $10,000 in annual revenue from systems smaller than your bedroom. Backyard operations. Part-time commitment. Pure profit. You're not gardening. You're running a biological ATM. And here's what industrial agriculture will never be able to replicate: quality. You know exactly what your fish eat. You watch every nutrient cycle through your system. You know the exact conditions your plants grow in. Traceability. Your lettuce isn't shipped across 3 states in a refrigerated truck, losing nutrients and picking up who knows what. It went from water to table in hours. Resilience. While conventional farms bet everything on yield per acre, you've built something that compounds. Year 2 produces more than year 1. Year 3 eclipses them both. The system gets smarter the longer it runs. You're not just growing food anymore. You're growing abundance. But here's what keeps you awake at night: the supply chain isn't stable. It never was. 10 years from now, maybe sooner, the fragile infrastructure most people depend on will strain, then crack, then fail. Grocery prices will continue their climb. Shelves will thin. The just-in-time delivery system that's fed you for 20 years will face disruption you can't predict. And when it happens, there are only 2 types of people. Type 1, your neighbors, your co-workers, the people you know. They're standing in aisle after aisle of half-empty shelves, scrolling their phones for delivery slots that don't exist. Freezers packed with processed mystery meat and industrial chicken and vegetables that were picked green and gassed into ripeness. Dependent, helpless, waiting for the next shipment like addicts waiting for a fix. Their kids ask, "When's food coming back?" They have no answer. Type 2, you. Walking into your backyard at 6 a.m. The air is cool. The system hums quietly. Water circulating, fish moving, plants drinking in nutrients. You harvest lettuce so crisp it snaps in your hand. Tomatoes that actually taste like tomatoes. Herbs that smell like they've been waiting their whole lives to be touched. You check your water parameters. pH is 6.8. Ammonia is undetectable. Oxygen levels are stable. Stable because you engineered it that way. Because you understood the system deeply enough to keep it balanced. And you feel something real that money cannot buy. Absolute, unshakable competence. You're not just growing food anymore. You're managing an ecosystem. Every nutrient flows because you decided it should. Every plant thrives because you built the system right. Every fish survives because you closed the loop and maintained it. The algae doesn't take over because you understand light cycles. The water doesn't become toxic because you monitor your biofilter. The plants don't wilt because you grasp the relationship between fish stocking density and nutrient availability. You became the variable that makes the difference. The physics are proven. The biology is documented. MIT has run studies. Universities worldwide are publishing papers. The machine doesn't need permission or government approval or grocery stores. It just needs you. And it works. Because you built it. Think about what this means, really. While supply chains collapse around you, you're harvesting. While food prices spike, your input costs stay near zero. While other people are calculating how to stretch canned goods, you're rotating between spring lettuce, summer tomatoes, and fall greens. Your kids won't remember a time when fresh food was a luxury. They'll remember a time when you chose to be independent. When you looked at a system that was broken and said, "I'm going to fix this myself." That's power. That's the kind of competence that compounds. And it started with a hole in the ground. The biology has been waiting thousands of years for you to build it. Don't wait for permission to be self-sufficient. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the right conditions. Don't wait until the supply chain strain becomes undeniable. Don't wait until your neighbors are asking you how you're eating so well. Subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell. Join a community of people who are done waiting, who are building their loops right now, who are becoming the variables in their own food systems. Share this with someone you know who's done waiting. Someone who's tired of being dependent. Someone who's smart enough to see the future coming and brave enough to build for it. Because the question isn't, should I build this? The question is, how long am I going to wait? The question is, am I going to be type 1 or type 2 when the disruption hits? The question is, do I want my family eating mystery food from trucks? Or do I want them eating something I grew? Build the loop. Become the variable. And 10 years from now, when everyone's asking you how you did it, you'll look back at this moment. This decision. This choice. To be self-sufficient. And you'll smile, knowing you didn't wait.